calm down. Yep, be nice and calm. Good girl. What baby name? Okay, welcome. Um, so this is our live Hatha 1 hour flow or on YouTube. We will start on the back. If you have 2 blocks of any thickness, we will start with 1 block along the spine, vertically along the back, and then the other block perpendicular under the head. And depending on what's feeling good for you today, you can adjust the height of the block or the spine and the head. So each block has 3 heights. If you'd like a deeper back bend, heart opener right from the start, you can bring the block under the spine to the 2nd height. Alternatively, if you would like less of an openness to the heart, bring the block under the head to a higher height. And then 2 options for the feet, either soles of the feet together, letting the knees open wide. But if that doesn't feel good on the hips, you can also plant the feet and just let the knees rest against one another. So we'll take a minute here to settle in on the back. If you are using those 2 blocks, just a note that you want some space between the blocks, so your neck should be fully off the blocks. And that block under the spine just coming to the very top of your shoulder blades. And if you're just joining, we're just getting set up here on the back. And again, either soles of the feet together or plant the feet, let the knees rest against one another. And then we'll settle in here wherever you are on the back, with or without blocks. Let the back body ground down. If it feels okay, flip the palms up, tucking shoulder blades underneath the back. If you have soles of the feet together, option to slide the heels a little closer to the body. And then let the knees fall out to the sides. If you haven't already, close down the eyes, close down the mouth. And start to inhale through the nose, hold a slight pause. And exhale through the nose, hold a slight pause. With each exhale, feel the collarbones stretch as the backs of the shoulders release down to the mat. And start to focus your mind on the breath. So I know for some of my regular students, both on live classes and YouTube, Hatha Yoga is newer. So just a brief introduction to Hatha Yoga. You may also hear it pronounced as Hatha in studios, which is fine too. But in the Sanskrit, it's actually Hatha. And so in Hatha Yoga, it's not more or less challenging than Vinyasa or Yin or gentle. But really in Hatha, we have a focus on whole body wellness with a lot of longer holds. And so for some of us, we might notice more challenges come up when we're moving on the breath. For others, we might notice more challenges come up when we're holding shapes for a longer period of time. So in Hatha, I really invite you to notice what it feels like to be in spaces of relative silence, relative stillness as you hold shapes. And at the same time, if you're more looking for a vigorous flow, you're welcome to add in a flow anytime. So I know for me as a practitioner, I will sometimes in a given class add flows on my own breath. Other times I'll just go with the instructor, but please feel welcome to either add flows or slow it down even more, whatever's feeling right for you. Taking a few more breaths here on the back body, through the nose. And just like in a Vinyasa class, settling in on a pace of breath you can maintain as we build inner heat and introduce movement with breath. Take one more deep breath cycle here through the nose. And then if you have blocks underneath the back body, lift up just enough to slide those blocks aside. And then once more, recline on the back. We'll use the hands to draw the legs together. Plant the feet, hips distance apart. Turn your big toes slightly in. Anytime we have the feet planted, whether on the back, seated, or standing, big toes slightly in. We'll find some movements on the breath just with the arms, keeping feet and back body planted. With an inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. Send the arms to the right. Lift them up through center. Send them to the left. Taking circles with the arms. So back, feet stay planted. Arms are reaching behind the head. To the right, through center, to the left. On your breath. Good. Letting that breath come first, movement follows. The next time you inhale, switch the direction of those circles. Arms reaching up to the sky, over to the side, back behind the head as you breathe. Good. Next time the arms reach up and overhead, interlace the fingers, press the hands away from your head, and then send the legs straight up to the sky. So your fingers are interlaced, bottoms of the hands pressing back away from the head. If it feels okay, legs straight and strong, balls and heels of the feet pressing upward. If this is too intense, you can bend the knees or even lower the feet toward the mat. Otherwise, spread the toes, stack your heels over knees, knees over hips. And for a lot of us, we'll tend to pull the feet toward the head. That makes it easier. Push your feet away from the head. Find that nice 90-degree angle between hips. Legs and torso, active and strong. Good. From here, point the toes, keep the legs drawing together. We'll move just the legs on the breath, keeping arms overhead. Deep inhale here. Exhale, press the feet and legs forward, then down, just enough to hover the heels off the mat. With an inhale, lift the legs back up, 90-degree angle through the hips, flex the toes. Exhale, point the toes, slowly lower the legs down toward the mat. Inhale to lift. Continue this way on your breath. You're welcome to lower the feet to the mat anytime if this becomes too intense. Otherwise, keeping lower back on the mat as you lift and lower the legs. No momentum here. Using the legs and abdominal muscles as you breathe. Good. Option for a couple more rounds like this. Again, if you've had enough, you can just plant the feet on the mat. Let the knees rest against one another. Good. The next time you lift the legs up to the sky, soles of the feet high, draw the knees to the chest, wrap the arms around the shins, and start to rock left and right, up and down. Finding any intuitive movements here that feel good. Reconnect to that rhythmic pace of breath. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling through the nose. Good. From here, bring the hands behind the legs and start to rock and roll along the spine. We'll do this 5 or 6 times. before crossing the ankles, rolling all the way to tabletop, coming to hands and knees. And always an option to slide a blanket or roll the mat up under the knees here. Either way, set up your strong tabletop, shoulders over wrists, palms flatten to the mat, fingers spread wide, hips over knees. And then keep your gaze between the thumbs to start. Press your toes strongly to the mat. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest. Marjaryasana. Exhale, tuck and round, chin to chest, Bitilasana. Moving through cow-cats like this. If you're newer to yoga, in cow-cats, we're working to just find movement through the spine. Arms and legs staying strong and straight. And especially in a Hatha class, cow-cats and tabletop is a great shape to return to. If you need to reestablish that rhythmic breath control, quiet the mind. Good, next exhale, find stillness in tabletop. Press the palms down, even engaging the inner edges of the thumbs, inner edges of the pinkies toward the mat. Next, inhale, send the right leg back. We'll hold here, option to reach the left arm forward. As we hold, deep belly breaths through the nose. If you lifted that left arm, press actively down through the right palm. And either way, right foot presses back, toes spread wide, navel pulling in and up toward the spine. Even as you feel that internal heat build, the breath stays steady and constant. Good. One more inhale here. Exhale, release to tabletop. And just shake your hips left and right, shake your shoulders left and right, reset. And we'll find stillness back in tabletop. Gaze between the thumbs, toes are tucked. With an inhale, send the left leg back. Good, press the left foot back without opening the left hip up. So see if you can get that left leg parallel to the mat. Option to reach the right arm forward. Right middle finger reaching forward. Either way, crown of the head pulls forward as the left foot presses back. Left palm grounding down, flattening toward the mat. And breathe. Good. Noticing those micro movements through the hand and foot as you hold relative stillness here. Deep inhale. Exhale, release. Send your knees to the outer edges of the mat. Untuck your toes, big toes touch. Sit the hips back. Finding wide-legged balasana, child's pose. In child's pose, working to sit the hips back toward the heels. And then walk your palms forward, shoulder distance apart. Plant the elbows to the mat. Bring your palms to touch. Stay here or draw the thumbs to the back of the neck. We're working to open the spaces through the outer ribs, maybe sliding the elbows forward and together as you breathe. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Hatha yoga, the umbrella through which all physical yoga stems from, comes from the etymology of sun and moon, ha and pa. And so through a hatha practice, we're really focusing on both creating heat and creating inner coolness and calm. And remembering you can find child's pose or any other resting shape as you need. From child's pose, inhale, reach the arms forward. Press up to hands and knees. Find tabletop, tuck your toes, and send the hips up and back. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Resist that urge to walk your hands back or walk your feet forward. Hands just an inch or two from the top of the mat. Feet an inch or two from the back of the mat. It's okay if your heels are lifted high. And then turn your gaze back, let the neck relax. Find your breath. Throughout our practice, keeping the hands in the same spot, keeping feet in the same spot, anytime we move through warrior poses, down dog, and plank. Next, inhale, roll forward to plank. Lower the knees behind the hips. Good. And then lift the feet, cross one ankle on top of the other. Working on Chaturanga Dandasana, lowering halfway, drawing elbows to ribs. Inhale, push the chest forward. Exhale, lower halfway, elbows to ribs. Inhale, press back up. Exhale, lower, slow and steady. Inhale to lift. Exhale, lower, 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower, last time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower, all the way to the belly. Uncross the ankles, send the legs back. Keep your toes untucked, tops of the feet to the mat. Bring your palms under shoulders if they're not already. Gaze at the floor. Inhale, press the palms down, lift the chest up. Exhale, hover the hands, finding a baby cobra. Tops of the feet to the mat. Each inhale, chest lifts up, shoulders back and down. And breathe. Good. Bhujangasana. Squeeze the shoulder blades a little further together. Draw the elbows a little further back. Inhale, chest lifts. Exhale, press through knees or plank. Back to down dog. And find your breath. About 5 breath cycles here through the nose. Let the neck fully relax. And remember, you can find any one of our 3 resting shapes as you need. Down dog, or lowering to hands and knees, or sitting hips back all the way to child's pose. You can find those shapes at any point in our practice. From down dog, inhale, gaze forward, come high on the tiptoes. Exhale, down dog, release the neck, drop the heels. Inhale, gaze forward, come on the tiptoes. Exhale, down dog, hips up and back. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, down dog. This time, inhale, gaze forward. Start to tiptoe toward the hands as slowly as you can. See how long you can keep the hands planted as you keep walking the feet forward. Lifting the palms at any time. We'll meet in a forward fold at the top of the mat. Uttanasana. As you find your forward fold, let the hands and shoulders hang heavy. If the palms plant on the mat, walk your hands back so that your tops of fingers are in the same line as your toes. And if the arms and hands are hovering off the mat, that's okay too. Either way, start to sway left and right. If the palms are planted, keep the palms and feet planted as you sway. And if the hands are hovering, just focus on pressing down through the toes, drawing the weight forward toward the toes. Uttanasana. Good. And breathe. With each exhale, backs of the legs start to open. Find stillness in your forward fold. Let the head fold forward through center. Take an inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Deep bend in the knees. Let the head and shoulders hang heavy. With an inhale, roll all the way to standing. We'll meet in Tadasana, mountain pose, standing tall at the top of the mat. If you're newer to yoga, anytime we're in standing shape, outer edges of the feet are parallel. So maybe feet hips distance apart, or maybe big toes touch, heels apart. And then reach the fingers down, gaze straight forward and soft. Close the eyes if that feels okay. Take a few deep belly breaths through the nose. Physical body active, mind is soft. One more breath cycle like this through the nose. From here, open the eyes. Bring the hands to the hips. Press down through the right foot. Keep your gaze straight forward. With an inhale, step the left foot back. Set up for warrior two. Rotate, plant your back foot. And then find a nice line between front heel, back arch of the foot. When you find your balance, open the arms wide, gaze to the right, drop the shoulders. We'll be here for quite a few breaths. As you settle in, tailbone tucking under, pelvis pushes forward. Actively rotate both hips back in space. Maybe you slide the right foot forward, bringing the right leg more parallel to the mat. Good. Equal weight for both feet. If you'd like more of a challenge, keeping your head turned toward the right hand, option to close down the eyes here. Notice how that affects your Virabhadrasana too, as you breathe. Deep inhales through the nose, hold that pause. Deep exhales through the nose, hold the pause. Good. Notice if the rib cage splayed forward, draw the ribs in, even as the tailbone tucks under. Good. Next inhale, straighten the front leg. Bring your hands to the hips. Turn to face the long edge of your mat. Turn your right toes in, setting up for a forward fold. Hands stay at the hips. Work your elbows behind the back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Press down through the feet. Deep inhale here. Exhale, hinge forward. And then fold, release your hands. So I won't cue headstand in Hatha classes, but you're welcome to go there if that's part of your vinyasa practice. Otherwise, in your forward fold, reach your hands towards your feet. Maybe your hands touch the tops of your feet, or maybe they land somewhere in between your feet. Draw the top of your head toward the mat. It doesn't need to touch. You can also adjust the distance between your feet here. Maybe your hands wrap around the outer edges of your feet. As you start to push the top of the head to the mat, push your hips forward and breathe. Whether you're here or in headstand, working to open through the backs of the legs. Deep belly breaths. If you did reach the hands for the feet, option to try sliding the feet further apart, keeping big toes slightly turned in. If the top of your head is lowered to the mat, we're really working to bring the very top of the head down. That spot that's soft when we're babies. Bring that flat area fully to the mat. If you're still in your inversion, slowly lower down, back to wide-legged fold. Next, inhale, half lift. Exhale, bend the knees, bring the hands to the hips, roll all the way to standing. Turn your toes out, heels in. So we're still facing the long edge of the mat here. Setting up for goddess pose. Maybe a slightly shorter distance between the feet. Press down through the feet. Inhale, arms open wide. Exhale, bend the knees, bend the elbows. So you'll know you've hit your edge if you can't see the inner edges of your feet inside your knees. So take a look down. You can adjust the orientation of your feet here. Just make sure your knees aren't rolling in to the inside of your feet. And then squeeze your shoulder blades together, gaze straight forward and soft. If you have the space, keep pressing the palms back as you breathe. Good. Option to drop the hips just a bit lower as you push the pelvis forward. Utthata Konasana. Stay here or lift one or both heel off the mat at a time. Maybe you lift both heels, gently swaying left and right. Keep pressing those palms back in space, elbows at shoulder height. Good, nice adjustments there with the arms. And breathe. Find stillness in your goddess shape. Utthata Konasana. Inhale, straighten arms and legs, star pose. Exhale, hands to hips. Turn your big toes in. Heel toe your feet together. And step to the top of the mat. Setting up for goddess pose squats. Once more, turn your toes out. Heels in. The top of the mat. Hands to hips. We'll keep our hands at the hips, shoulder blades squeezing together. Take an inhale here. Exhale, squat, knees wide, lower the hips, tuck the tailbone under. Inhale, slowly rise up, no momentum. Exhale, squat, knees open wide, continuing like this. Inhale, rise up, tailbone tucks under. Exhale, squat, elbows back. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, squat. Last time. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, squat. Inhale, rise all the way up. On the exhale, squat. Lower all the way to Malasana, yogi squat. Releasing your hands forward. And then a couple options here. If you're newer to yoga or you like to make this restorative, slide your block at any height under the sacrum. And then either way, working to plant the feet on the mat. It's okay if the heels are lifted. The further apart you bring your feet, the more ease you'll find in this shape. We'll be here for quite a few breaths. Option to bring palms to heart center. Whether you're sitting on a block or not, option to use the elbows to push the inner thighs back. Just taking care not to push on the knees. Good. Thumbs to heart, gaze pulls forward, shoulders back and down. So spine is very long here as the hips and pelvis drop. You can stay here or close down the eyes all together, going inward. Malasana, yogi squat. Take a few breaths like this in relative stillness. Just notice what this feels like. Good. Take one more inhale. Exhale, release the hands, press the hips up. Find a forward fold at the top of the mat. Uttanasana. In your forward fold, check that outer edges of the feet are parallel. Big toes slightly turned in. And then once more, sway left and right, keeping the arms hanging heavy. Maybe the palms plant to the mat as you sway. Find your breath. Next time you sway through center, find stillness. Fold forward here. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms out and up, palms touch. Exhale, release, hands to the hips. And this time, plant down through the left foot. We'll work on stepping back to warrior two. Inhale, right foot back, open the hips. Exhale, bend the left knee, gaze to the left. Find that nice line between front heel, back arch of the foot. And then open the arms wide, gaze to the left middle finger. Good. Settle in. Take notice of any differences side to side. In Hatha Yoga, we're working to balance the yin and the yang, that experience of heat and coolness, openness and stability. Just noticing what it feels like here on the left side. Let the shoulders drop down from the ears. And breathe. Option to slide the left foot slightly further forward, bringing left thigh more parallel to the mat. Arms in a nice straight line. Good. Virabhadrasana 2. Next, inhale, straighten the front leg, hands to hips. Turn to face the long edge of your mat. Turn your big toes in. Setting up for a forward fold, a couple of options here. Hands to hips. Option to interlace hands behind the back. Or if you have reverse namaste, reverse prayer, sliding your palms together between the shoulder blades, and then drawing the elbows back in space. So choose your arm variation here. Deep inhale, chest forward. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Fold forward, keep your arm bind. So for those that have reverse namaste, keep sliding the palms up between the shoulder blades. Keep drawing your elbows up and together. If you have hands clasped, lift the front of the shoulders up from the mat, then pull the arms up and overhead. And if you have hands at the hips, keep drawing elbows and shoulder blades together. And then with your exhale, shift the weight forward to the toes. This might look like a simple shape to watch, but in your body, it's very active. Torso, abdominal muscles are active. Back body, shoulders are active. All 10 toes are grounding down as you breathe. If this becomes too intense, as we hold a few more breaths, option to bend the knees more deeply here, finding a little relief. Or to add intensity, straighten the legs fully, shift the hips forward, draw the weight toward the toes. Good, really nice variations of the arms. Prasarita Padottanasana. Take one more inhale. Exhale, release the hands toward the mat. Plant the palms. And then start to bend one knee at a time, walking the hands side to side as you bend opposite knees. As you shift the hips side to side, keep the feet planted and breathe. Deep inhales through the nose and exhales through the nose. Next time you come through center, find stillness. Stay in your forward fold. Take a deep bend in the knees, bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, roll all the way to standing. Heel toe your feet together. And step to the top of the mat. Release the arms, finding Tadasana, arms reaching down. Whether the feet are apart or touching, keep your big toes turning in. Feel the outer hips engage. And we'll take a few rounds of standing back bends here. Focus on keeping your toes planted as we arch through the back. For the first round, inhale, palms to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press thumbs to heart. Take an inhale, push the hips forward. Exhale, extend the spine back. Maybe gaze turns up. Keep pressing thumbs to heart. So this might be subtle. Maybe you're just shifting back an inch or two. Maybe your gaze turns back behind the body. Wherever you're at, all 10 toes grounding. Good, draw the chin to the chest. Inhale, stand straight up. Exhale, release the arms. And just shake out the hips and shoulders. Let that go. And then come back to stand tall, top of the mat, Tadasana. Second round, inhale, either hands to hips or interlace hands behind the back, pulling the fists between the glutes. Either way, next inhale, hips forward. Exhale, extend the spine, turn the gaze up. If the hands are at hips, draw your shoulder blades together. If you have the hands interlaced, pull the fists down between the thighs. Maybe gaze turns back to the wall behind you. Keep pressing the toes down. Good, draw the chin to the chest. Inhale, stand straight up. Exhale, release once more, shake out the shoulders and hips. Let that go. And we'll take one more round. Back to Tadasana, standing tall at the top of the mat. This round, same options. So either hands to hips, hands interlaced behind the back, or if you have the space, reverse namaste, palms behind the back, sliding up between the shoulders. So choose your hands, press down through the toes. Inhale, hips forward, chest lifts. Exhale, arch through the back, and you know, maybe gaze turns up or back behind the body. And breathe. Good, really great variations there. Keep pushing those hips forward. Before we rise up, draw the chin to the chest. Inhale, stand straight up. On the exhale, fold forward, release the hands. Forward fold. Bring your feet to the outer edges of the mat. So your feet are really widely apart. And start to sway left and right, letting the hands and arms rock as well. As you sway, keep both feet fully planted. And breathe. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the nose. The next time you sway through center, find stillness, fold forward, and then heel toe your feet closer together, either hips distance apart or big toes touch, heels apart. Next, inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, step it back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. We'll be here about 10 breaths, option to lower to tabletop or child's pose instead. Choose what you need. If you're staying in down dog, take a look forward to the hands. Palms shoulder distance apart. Sometimes that means bringing our hands a little closer together than we think. Pointer finger shining forward. Hands just an inch or two from the top of the mat. Spread your fingers wide and then flatten through the palms. From here, gaze turns back. Send the heels energetically toward the mat. Press the hips back. Pull the navel toward the spine, keeping the abdominal muscles active. Good. And then stay right here. Take a slow flow on the breath. If you're flowing, inhale, roll forward to plank. Roll forward on the toes. Exhale, lower halfway or to the belly. Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, hips back. Downward facing dog. From down dog, one more inhale. Lower to the knees. Come to tabletop, resting on hands and knees. And we'll take some twists on the breath, just moving one arm at a time. Tuck your toes behind you. Inhale, reach the left arm high. Exhale, slowly lower left arm. Plant the palm to the mat. Inhale, reach the right arm high. Exhale, slowly lower. Continue on your breath, allowing your hand to reach the sky only at the end of your inhale, allowing your hand to fully plant the very bottom of the exhale. No momentum, moving on the breath. Good. Each time you inhale and the arm lifts, maybe gaze turns a little higher up as you wring out the inner organs through your twists. We'll take a couple more rounds side to side, maybe adding an extra count to your inhales and exhales, finding your deepest breath of your practice. The next time you come to tabletop, find stillness. Meet me here. Gaze between the thumbs. Good, one more inhale. Exhale, sit the hips back and come all the way to a seat on the mat. Send the legs forward. If you like a prop under the sits bones, you can do that. Otherwise, use your hands, just pull the flesh out from underneath. And then find your blocks. So if you have blocks, we'll bring them outside the outer hips. If you don't have blocks, we'll just put your hands where the blocks would be. And then otherwise, we're looking to plant the palms, just like down dog, right outside the hips on the blocks. So the blocks can be at the highest height, at the second height, or at the lowest height. And then ideally not rounding forward or back. So find your sweet spot, press the palms down, flatten the hands, and then draw the toes toward the body. Actively press the palms down, feel the torso lift. On the breath, inhale, lift the right leg any amount. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, lift left. Exhale, lower. Continue this way on your breath, side to side. So even if the elbows are bending as the palms plant, working to keep those palms actively engaged, same distance between the hands as we have in down dog, plank, and tabletop. Working to keep the torso nice and upright as the hips ground down. Good. Dandasana leg lifts on the breath. We'll take a couple more rounds side to side. If you like, you're welcome to stop movement at any time. The next time you lower the left leg, find stillness in Dandasana, staff pose. Sitting tall, palms pressing down. Flex the toes toward the body. Next, inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, reach forward first, hinge at the hips, and then find an active forward fold. Let the palms relax, keep your toes flexed. Draw your big toes to the top of the head, press your calves down. And if you have the space, option to walk the hands forward, find some traction on your mat. As you walk the hands forward, draw the shoulders down from the ears. And then option to catch behind the feet with the hands or catch between the big toes and the second toe. Cap it with the thumb. If you use the hands to reach forward, draw the shoulders down from the ears. And breathe. Good. Use those exhales to find your deepest opening through the back and backs of the legs. Before we rise up, reach the arms forward, thumbs up. Keep your toes flexed, engage the core. Next, inhale, rise all the way up, arms high. Exhale, plant the hands behind the back, fingers pointed toward you. Point your toes, legs together, setting up for fish pose, Matsyasana. Shift your buttocks and hips forward. Lower to the forearms. And then this will look a little different in different bodies depending on arm length. Maybe the tops of your fingers tuck under your glutes. And either way, working to plant forearms, wrists, and palms fully to the mat. We have a tendency to lift the wrists here. See if you can lower them. And even here, we have the same hands as down dog and plank. Palms shoulder distance apart, fingers spread wide. Take an inhale, lift the gaze up, sternum toward the sky. Exhale, release the neck back. Keep pointing through the toes, drawing soles of the feet to the mat. We'll be here about 10 or so rounds of breath. If you'd like to go deeper, walk your elbows closer together. Feel your shoulder blades tucked together. And make sure the wrists are still planting down to the mat. Make sure all the knuckles of the fingers are planting down. Imagining yourself kind of like a marionette here, a string pulling your sternum to the sky, and the rest of your body is releasing downward. And breathe. If this is feeling pretty stable, option to slide your hands a little further underneath your glutes. Maybe your elbows come a bit forward with the shoulders here, if that feels okay. We're working to shift our gaze all the way toward the floor behind the back of your head. With time, top of the head coming to the mat, chest lifting high. Good. Take a couple more breaths here. Find your edge today. Take a deep inhale here. Exhale, lower to the back. Release the arms from underneath the body. And we'll draw soles of the feet together. Send the knees out wide. Bring one hand to heart, one hand to belly. Supta Baddha Konasana. As you press the soles of the feet together, walk the heels toward the perineum. Maybe you'll even open the soles of the feet to the sky, like you're opening the pages of a book. contracting the outer hips as the knees release to left and right. Reclined bound angle. Take a few deep breath cycles here. If you lost it, re-engaging that rhythmic ujjayi breath through the nose. And in this shape, start to lengthen your breath once more. Take a few moments to breathe with intention, noticing what's shifted, what's come up through your practice this evening. Just notice. Keep the feet as they are. Extend the arms alongside the body. Flip the palms up. Tuck your shoulder blades a little closer together under the back. We'll take 3 rounds of lion's breath, expelling any stale air in a moment. We'll inhale through the nose, and on the exhale, stick out the tongue, scrunch up the facial features, loudly expel the air. Preparing to inhale here. Two more rounds of lion's breath on your own breath. With that exhale, close the mouth back down. Slide your heels a little further from the body, making more of a diamond shape with the legs. And then reach your arms up and overhead. Let the backs of the arms come to the mat, backs of the hands to the ground behind your head. And so your knees are still splayed wide here. Shoulders, backs of the arms, releasing and relaxing. We'll take a breath exercise here as we move into Shavasana for our final rest. If this is feeling uncomfortable on the hips, a couple of options. You can slide your blocks at any of the 3 heights outside your outer hips, just enough that the pelvic floor relaxes, not that you're lifting the legs up. You can also bring the arms alongside the body if that's not feeling good, with the arms overhead. Wherever you're at, let the physical weight of your body ground down. I'll start us off counting on a pace of 3 per inhale and exhale. And then you'll continue on your breath through the nose. Preparing to inhale here. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, and pause. Exhaling 3, 2, 1, and pause. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, and pause. Exhaling 3, 2, 1, and continue on your breath through the nose, actively counting your breath in your mind. At the bottom of your next exhale, let go of your pranayama, your breath control. Let go of the counting in your mind. Keep the mouth closed down as the breath becomes soft and shallow. Feel the abdominal muscles release and relax. You can either stay as you are with the arms and legs or move toward traditional Shavasana with legs extended long, arms extended toward the legs, flipping the palms up. But really just choosing a shape where your physical self can release and relax. Shavasana will look different in different bodies. You can explore the distance between the feet and legs. Explore how far underneath you tuck the shoulder blades. In the next few rounds of gentle, unconscious breath, settle fully in to your Shavasana shape. Finding any clothing or props you'd like to be comfortable and warm. Maybe feeling a moment of gratitude that you chose to spend time with your practice. Take a couple more rounds of gentle, shallow breath, releasing and relaxing any last micro muscle holds you notice in the body. Feel the eyes release into the sockets. Begin to tune out physical sensation in the space around you. Prepare to hold here in a few moments of quiet and stillness. Shavasana, corpse pose. Yogash Chitta Vritti Nirodha Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Begin to deepen your breath through the nose. No rush or urgency. You're always welcome to stay in relative stillness even through the end of class. As you feel ready, invite movement back to the hands and feet, fingers and toes. Letting that foundational tenet of yoga settle in mind, body, and energetic body. Yogash chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind. If it feels inviting to you, reach the arms overhead. Find a deep full body stretch, like you're just waking up in the morning. And eventually drawing the knees to the chest, roll to the right side body. Take a few breaths here in this liminal shape as we prepare to rise to a seat. You're welcome to continue on the back body. Otherwise, if you're ready, press up to a comfortable seat. That can be legs crossed, can be lotus, padmasana, or any other comfortable shape with the hips grounding down, shoulders relaxing down from the ears. We'll find Anjali Mudra, bringing palms to touch, pressing thumbs to heart, heart to thumbs. Slightly lower your thumbs down the chest, bringing forearms in one line, and draw the shoulder blades together. Eyes closed or gaze soft. The light within me honors and respects the light within each of you. Thank you. Mil gracias. We bow and say a word. Namaste. Thank you so much. Glad to practice with those of you joining live, and also happy to offer this on YouTube. Let me know if you have questions, feedback, requests. And in future weeks, we'll delve more into the Hatha part of Hatha Yoga. So happy to chat if you have questions or even just requests for future Hatha classes. Thanks so much. Hi, Sneaky. Yeah. You're so sweet.